Welcome back to the Four Podmen, the wrestling podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are available through Anchor. You can get them through Spotify, Podbean, and Apple iTunes, or wherever you pick up your audio shows. Joining me today, a friend of the show and a long-term friend from the shop and in general in wrestling. Joining me for a collector's corner, Barry Farrell. How we doing, Barry?
How you doing, mate?
Good.
Pretty good.
Excellent.
Yeah, just looking forward to going to WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be able to do something out the podcast over there when we get there. I tell you that much.
Yeah.
Along with a little bit of drinking, of course.
Of course, yeah.
So today we said we jump on and do a collector's corner because obviously you've been coming into the shop now for a long time and picking up bits as you go. And I mean, everyone and their sister knows at this stage that you're a huge Undertaker fan.
Yeah.
So without a doubt, I'm sure a lot of this stuff will be Undertaker. But still, good to see it. And it's interesting because the number of collector's corners that we've done so far, there's been so many of them have been Undertaker. Like Stephen was on, Sean O'Driscoll was on. So there's been a good few guys on now, and they're all big Undertaker guys, you know. Before we get into it, I suppose, talk to me, getting into wrestling in the beginning. How did it all come about and stuff like that?
Well, weirdly enough, my older brother he was a big wrestling fan at that time, and he big into the Demolition and that kind of those characters, Yeah. And then I got into it because of him, and I fell in love with Hulk Hogan. Okay. And then all of a sudden, Undertaker comes along, and I'm like, forget Hogan. That's who I want to focus on.
So not unlike Star Wars, you went to the dark side, yeah?
Exactly, yeah. And it didn't take long because at first I was like, I can't like him. He's a bad guy. And then when he turned good, I was like, yes, I could cheer him again now. And me and my brother Joey, you know him.
Yeah.
We would have been watching wrestling all the time, and he was a big Shawn Michaels fan. I was a big Undertaker fan, So whenever they had anything to do with each other, we were both loving it. But we loved it anyway. So, awesome. I mean, we've been watching it since I don't know how long, but it was a long time anyway.
Yeah. And what are you liking at the moment in the current product? I mean, obviously Undertaker has moved on to pastures new, kind of.
Well, we both discussed that the last ride podcast, the last ride episodes were incredible. But I absolutely love NXT. I do like Raw and SmackDown as well, but it's more about NXT for me now.
So who's the main guys in NXT now? You're cheering for?
I know Finn Balor's back on SmackDown, so it was him. But I do love Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Baby.
Absolutely. So, and of course you'd be you'd have watched Pete Dunne's career closely because
yes, of course,
you followed Pete as a wrestler even as a kid when he started coming over to Ireland and wrestling.
Yeah, I love Pete Dunne. I actually like all three members of British Strong Style. I just think they're brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So even though I didn't know them as much as I knew Pete because of years ago,
Yeah.
But I thought they were great when they were over here, and I love seeing the success they're having in the NXT UK. Bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah, it's kind of very satisfying to see guys who sort of plied their trade in gym halls and in smaller venues and stuff like that to go all the way to reach the pinnacle of WWE. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, whenever you look at it and you go, I remember seeing him. I remember being at like Gym Wars, something,
yeah.
IWW, whatever, and
yeah. I seen that guy change down an alleyway in 2 feet of snow. He barely had his bus fare to get home. Now look,
I bought him a beer once,
and he never bought me one back.
Yeah, bastard.
Brilliant. Right, let's get on. Let's have a look at some of this stuff. Start showing us and our viewers some of this cool stuff that you have.
Right, so I have a couple of massive DVD collections here.
Okay.
The entire box set of SummerSlam.
Beauty.
That's
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's one of them.
Yeah, the one that's in it's in the cooler box. It's really cool.
In the cooler box, yeah.
Yeah.
I have extra ones as well upstairs, but they're like, bonus. I got the entire Royal Rumble box set,
Nice.
which I also bought in yours, and the WrestleManias.
Awesome. So it's safe to say you're a big Thor fan, yeah?
Oh yes. Unfortunately, they never did the Survivor Series, so I didn't buy them.
Yeah.
But because I have the network, I don't need to, because I can watch them all there. But those are just in one set, and of course, the Stone Cold waistcoat.
Oh yeah, the awesome vest. Yeah, absolutely awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember my dad going in and buying it off you.
Yeah, that's a special piece now, isn't it, for you in your collection?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because that's even when you show me that piece, it even feels special to me now in terms of all the other stuff, Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
of course,
my championship.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't be a wrestling fan and not have a winged eagle belt.
I know. I do have plenty of Undertaker stuff upstairs, but I kind of we're going to be watching a match involving him, so I decided to leave his stuff up there.
Yeah. So what's your favorite Undertaker piece that you have in your collection?
Well, it's probably the first ever thing I bought from your store. Is Undertaker Tombstone DVD.
Oh, okay.
With all of his classic matches.
Yeah.
And all that. And I remember that was the first thing I ever bought from Wrestling Mania, obviously. And and I've got like plenty of T-shirts and a few other like autographed pictures, even though I haven't met the man. It's just signed pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love that I have a few collections like that, and of course I've got an Undertaker symbol tattooed on my shoulder.
Nice. In terms of the bucket list, will he be the man that you have to meet?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
I'd love it to meet anybody, but like if I ever got to meet the Undertaker, I'd probably just like keel over. That's it. I'm dead.
So that's the that's the big one on the list for Texas next year. Yeah, you have to figure out where he's meeting people.
And I'll keep you up all day if I have to.
So in terms of the Undertaker, I mean, obviously he's had a huge career spanning over many different sort of eras and stuff like that. What's your favorite era when you go back looking at Undertaker?
Probably the Phenom Undertaker from like when he started that feud with Mankind, and he was still managed by Paul Bearer. From then until he morphed into the Ministry Undertaker, the one. So like he'd have his cell match with Shawn, his cell match with Foley, his matches with Austin around that time as well, and all the stuff with Kane. I love that version of Undertaker. I'll do like older Undertaker and the Biker Taker. A lot of people don't like him, but I do.
Yeah. What was your least favorite one?
It could be the purple gloves. I don't know why. I just maybe it might have been that initial run of Undertaker. Obviously that was where I got first introduced to him and all that.
Yeah.
But he just did chokes. It wasn't too many moves. Every now and then he would burst out with a clothesline or something like that, and I'd be like, "Oh, wow."
This is where you're questioning yourself on dumping Hogan, is it?
And of course, when he initially started to get all these giants that he was being put against Gonzalez and King Kong Bundy and all these people, and it's like you could tell he hated it. So when he finally got a chance to work with like Austin and Bret Hart. Anybody that could actually do some stuff, and then he could show off that he could do some stuff as well.
Yeah.
That was always the best.
Yeah. We had Stephen on last week where we did a look back at the breaking of the streak. I said I'd get Stephen on to do it because I know he'd take it in good spirit, even though he's a huge Undertaker fan. I know you wouldn't be able to go back and look at that.
God,
what
when
was your
I watch WrestleMania 30, I watched the first match and I watched the last match. I missed the rest of it.
It never happened. What was your thinking at the time on breaking the streak? I mean, what was the reaction, and could you believe it? Or
No. And I was gonna go out to the Wolf Shed. I think they were gonna be showing it that night. And my mother and everybody else in the house said, I think it might have been a good thing you didn't. Because if someone had said something to me, I would have flipped. I would have probably battered them.
Yeah.
Because I was human about it.
Absolutely. If Brock wasn't the man, who do you think was the man if the streak was to be broken?
Well, we always heard him say that if he was going to lose to somebody, it'd be somebody up and coming, a new guy or something like that. So I know he's not a very popular choice, but Roman Reigns a couple of years later would have been the better thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Put him up onto that kind of echelon, and it's not that I hate Brock or anything like that, A lot of people don't seem to hate him. I don't. I always liked Brock back in the day, when he was in 2003, that time. I thought he was great. And I do still. I get annoyed when he does the same shit over and over. But yeah, it's different with the Undertaker. I didn't understand why they would do it.
Brock was a weird choice, wasn't it? Because he kind of didn't need it.
Exactly.
No.
I mean, Brock could have. I know that, because of that, then he challenged John Cena and he squashed John and all that. But Brock could have just got a title shot anyway. They could have just given it to him. They didn't have to put Undertaker against him at WrestleMania. He could have beat whoever at that WrestleMania.
Yeah. It was so shocking that night, wasn't it? When the streak was gone. I remember the look. I know Cahill, one of the lads I know from Cineworld, he works in Cineworld, or did work in Cineworld. He was over there. He was the guy with the red hair with the hands on the head. Couldn't believe it.
Oh yeah.
And the other black dude with the big white t-shirt on, remember him? Who was really the face of the breaking of the streak. Could not believe it. But the whole place was shocked. I think the only guy that wasn't shocked was your man, the Brock Lesnar guy. The guy.
Oh God, yeah.
He was the only guy, I'd say, in the whole stadium that wasn't shocked at all. He was absolutely going perplexed about it, you know what I mean? But it was and I always remember Heyman's facials, good Lord.
Yeah, I know. He was great. That whole it was clear that he wasn't. Well, maybe he might have been told beforehand or something like that, but he didn't let on,
Yeah. He sold it as if he wasn't in on it, didn't he? Because I know when you go back and you hear the stories on it and stuff like that, not too many people were in on it.
No.
It was a tight group that knew that this was happening, So yeah, very, very interesting. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on Collector's Corner. We will have you on again. You'll have to dig out all that Undertaker stuff next time. We'll have to go through. And as I know, you constantly add to it anyway.
Dust off of it. Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about the dust. Dust is good. It makes it more valuable. But until next time, head over to YouTube, smash that bell and notification button. Dynamo Podcast Network for the videos. Obviously, Spotify, Podbean, iTunes for the audio versions of the show. And we will talk to you again real soon. Cheers, Barry.